Alright, this is my very first movie review for this channel. Today I'm going to be covering The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Well, I first heard about this film through Cinemassacre, James Rolfe's channel. I saw him through the Angry Video Game Nerd, but it was one of his first Monster Madness reviews, I think, or at least in a list that I saw. And I was very confused because I hadn't heard of it and I wasn't really into older films, but I decided, you know what, it's time to watch it after watching a bunch of older Chaplin and Keaton stuff. So here are, here are my notes. Took a lot of notes on the hotel. I am currently at a hotel. My bedroom is not this nasty purple color. That's actually a strange choice of the hotel. But I was gonna change to a white wall, but then I was like, no, there's some weird colors in Caligari, so you know, let's get a little mood going here. So I'll touch on a couple points, do a quick summary of the plot, no spoilers in any of these reviews, and hopefully this first review will be good. So quick summary. The story follows a man named Francis and his friend Alan. This is all in German, by the way, and it is a silent movie from the 1920s, from 1920, I believe. Sorry if I'm wrong about that. But Alan and Francis, they live in just a city, and one day the fair is going, the city fair, and a man shows up. Crazy old man with thick glasses and a great hairdo. He is Dr. Caligari, and he has a sideshow that he's showing, which is his incredible somnambulist, which is someone who walks in their sleep. And apparently this man has never been awake. 23 years, he's just a sleeping man. And I don't know if that's ever actually concluded. Maybe he has been asleep his whole life, I have no idea. But the murders started happening around the town during the fair, and Francis figures out that it is the somnambulist after the sleepwalker kills his friend and almost kills the girl that both him and Alan like. So he starts a manhunt, and after that is where the real plot twists happen. So that's just the basic summary of the plot. So first thing first about this film, it was a really early version of stuff that's abstract and just extravagant and weird. So they tinted all the frames of the movie. So sometimes it's yellow, sometimes it's teal, sometimes it's magenta, which is really cool. And they use that for some mood and lighting and setting, and it's actually really nice. They also experimented a lot with lens transitions, like having just only one part's black and the rest of the rest is black, and one part you can still see. They did a lot of transitions where it closes or opens, which is really cool, and they use that for a flashback later in the film, which is really cool. The air conditioner just turned on. I hope that's not way too loud. I'm just gonna be a little bit louder. Let's see. A lot of it is set design and color contrast, which is excellent in both accords. It starts off weird. There's slanty doors and triangle-shaped windows and shadows painted curving up the walls, and it's odd, and you get a strange dream-like sense from it all. And that's weird, but it gets stranger throughout the film, and as it progresses, and all the characters become slightly more insane, and they're all getting more tense. The sets actually get a lot crazier. There's a couple in particular, like the prison and the asylum. Those are both amazing, with like geometric shapes on the walls and lighting going in, and it really is pretty amazing for black and white. The costume design is fine. It's really blocky, like they all have black trench coats, so it's just not blocky, but block colored, so it's all black or all white, and it looks great against the sets, but can't really do much more than that in black and white. One of my favorite parts about the film is how it used the title cards between. There's a lot of dialogue in this movie for a silent film. I will go on my tangent real fast. There's a lot of dialogue where it will go for a very long time without anything happening except for characters moving their mouths, which is strange for a silent movie. But then it'll do a scrolling version of a title card, and there are a lot of those. But they make them look very interesting with slanty font and crazy shapes in the background and all sorts of colors going on, and I really, really appreciated that after watching Chaplin and Keaton, who just have block, boring, monotonous font saying something short. But there's paragraphs of text on these cards, and it's very different. The music is... I didn't like it. I'm pretty picky when it comes to music. It was a lot of sometimes just straight dissonant chords for an entire scene, and it irked me. It just goes on crazy violin tangents, and it didn't really work for me, so that's a minus for me. There's another interesting thing they do is they say when each act is over, it'll go act Roman number 2 complete, and then it'll move on to the next thing. And I'm not exactly sure why they did that. The story would have been fine without it, but I thought it worked, and it was definitely different. I've never seen that before. Another interesting thing is the facial makeup. The characters all have, or most of them have, like black around their eyes or lipstick and to accentuate their face. And there's a lot of like bulging of eyes and licking of lips and shifting faces, and I mean it works for the tone of the movie. But a lot of the since they all have so much makeup, you can't really tell how old people are supposed to be. Which, I mean, I don't know if that is a problem, but the the somnambulist, whose name is Cesare, which is Caesar with an E, I have no idea if he's supposed to be like in his 20s, because he said he's 23, but then he also looks older than that sometimes. Whatever. Another thing, a lot of the backgrounds are painted, hand painted, and while I understand that they were probably constrained for space and the money to make sets, it's really distracting at times. There's one part where they're in a graveyard and there's a corner, it goes up, and there's bushes clearly hand painted on the walls, and it takes you out. Some of them are great. There's one part when you're looking over the town and there's more town in the background. It's sort of like a pyramid of crazy houses, and I thought that was really well done. That builds an impression of a larger city, which is nice because all the sets are really constrained. It's just like a hallway or a couple blocks or something like that. There are really, really, really great plot twists in this movie, mostly near the end, like in the final 30 minutes, but it brings it together. So if you watch this, don't just watch the beginning, even though it's kind of weird. Watch till the very end and see the plot twist, because that's what really finishes this off. Let's see. Francis as a main character, or Frances, I don't know how you pronounce it in German. He's not that great of a main character. He doesn't do much, and it feels like Caligari is more of the main character. The story sort of follows what he does, and then Francis following him. So Caligari is definitely the focus, although he's not the protagonist. Aside from that, one little note I wanted to make is that Cesare is kind of the first movie zombie. which is really interesting because after that you get all sorts of things like the Night of the Living Dead, and of course today many zombie movies. So I kind of like that. He's not necessarily like he walks with his arms out and he has got bloodshot eyes, and so that's why I say that. But I think that about covers all the things I wrote down in my notes. So I hope you guys really liked this review. If you did, subscribe because I want to do one of these every day. They might not all be recorded daily. I might do 3 sitting here and upload them one day, but you will probably, hopefully, get 1 review a day. And I'll see how long I can keep that up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.